everybody. Welcome to Real Horror. Tonight we are discussing Hannibal Season 3, Episodes 9 and 10. And joining me, as always, is Vinny. How you doing, Vinny?
Hello, everyone. I'm getting prepared. I feel like I'm in my prison cell, and I'm waiting to escape. Sorry.
Yes, it's awesome. I'm happy to have you, as always.
Oh yes, I'm always happy to be here. Give me
Yeah.
the file, Will Graham. Give me the file.
Yes, is it exactly. And Oslo stopped by and says, "Hey, can't catch today's stream, but they'll be there for the last episode, maybe next weekend for the last episode for sure. So thank you for that, and thank you for stopping by."
Cool.
And Adam says, "Slay the like button." I'll pin that comment. And yeah, no escape for you for sure.
Right.
And yeah, let me pin his. There, pinned your message, Adam, like always. So yeah, well, there was a lot going on in these two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially episode 10.
Yeah. There definitely was. And while you were watching it, did you remember any of the movie?
No, none of it rang a bell.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, just the only thing that I remember is the tattoo on the back. That's the only thing that looked familiar to me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's been so long. I don't remember.
Was it like a one? It was like a one-off where you only saw it one time. And
yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And one part of episode 10 happened. There was a thing with Hannibal, and it reminded me very much of something that happened in Manhunter. So I'm guessing that same thing happened in Red Dragon, which we can discuss when we get to that point. That point in, well, we'll get there tonight, and yeah, you can let me know if you remember that. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And Adam says, I'm just out here putting out the bonfire for the evening, listening to you, enjoying the fun. All right, awesome. Well, yeah, we appreciate you hanging with us, Adam.
Always, man, always.
And don't burn down the neighborhood.
Not again.
All right, so let's just go right into episode 9. So, yeah, so we see Will visiting Hannibal, and Hannibal it has his back towards the glass, and as we know, Hannibal has like this superhuman ability to like smell things. So he smells the aftershave, and he describes it and everything.
He's like Wolverine with his scent.
Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, he describes he describes more of what he smells on Will. He describes pine, dogs, and mentions a child, and we know that those are accurate because he's living like where he's living. It's like a log cabin house.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah,
because Hannibal's like he's baiting him too, because you could tell that since he's locked up like this, when Will comes in, it's like in the regular seasons he would have like drawn this out, but now it's like rapid fire almost at him.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like anyway. But and yeah, and right away he goes from that stuff with the bad after shave to then talking about all these kids or all these dogs, and then the pines and all that, and he goes, is there a child in your life? Maybe that's who picked out this atrocious aftershave. It smells like something a child would pick out.
Yes.
Will's not confirming or denying anything. He's just like looking at him like, wow, you're just a sick piece of shit.
Yep.
Like he's giving off those vibes.
Yeah, it's very interesting how you can see the huge change in the dynamic between Will and Hannibal. You you can tell Will isn't kind of like because you know how it used to seem like Will was like an adoring fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a you can like you don't see that anymore.
Yeah. It's like once you see a sociopath or a narcissist for what they are, you could never unsee it.
Yeah.
And it's like he's at that point where he can't unsee it, and now it's sad when he looks at him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they all kind of make Hannibal feel like, yeah, like he's past his prime, or because there's a new kid on the block kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's pissing off Hannibal at the moment as well.
Yep. Yeah, he's not a happy camper.
No.
And he has to wear, and we know that he's very fond of like all the like nice things in life, like his suits and all that stuff, and
yeah, accoutrements.
Yeah, 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 and he's forced to wear this prison jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, so this really has stripped him of all the like things really that define him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's interesting because like even his cell, like I thought it was just something they were playing with visuals, but it seems like it's kind of legit where they made it a little more fancy for him.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really don't understand, like why they would give him so much, like all the books and like his table, and he's got like stuff. He's got writing utensils and yeah, I mean, I know that he's like behind that glass, and it would be really difficult for him to hurt somebody, but he's still a threat.
Oh, for sure. And you don't reward him.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I don't like, the art direction, what they did with that, because like we'll have these moments where he's talking to someone and they try to make it look like they're back in his office, which makes sense. But from the point that they're doing this, it's weird because we saw the proper cell he was supposed to be in. Will was in there.
Yeah.
And in the previous season. So it's like, why would you? It doesn't make sense. Even the fancy doors for the people, like it's like a double door for them to get in and out of where the room that he's in.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like an odd, like a set choice.
Yeah. Very out of place. Now, I thought if they just did it for a couple of scenes, it kind of made sense or whatever. That's how he's seeing his palace there, his mind palace or whatever. But to do it every episode like this, and it's not a BS kind of thing. It's like, no, this is legit what they gave him. It's like, no one would have done that. Especially for a guy who was supposed to get the chair, but, he won his plea of insanity. That's why that's the only reason why he's alive.
Yep. Yeah, it's like one thing to let him off the hook for, the death penalty, but it's a whole, other thing to give him this like decked out cell with like drawing tables and his bookshelves. And I mean, it still looks fancy. It's it's kind of mind boggling.
Too fancy for him.
Yeah, because in Manhunter, it's just like a stark white cell. And then in Hannibal, no, I'm sorry, in Silence of the Lambs, it's that like, it looks basically like a dungeon. And he's just got basic stuff. Like he does have drawings on the wall, so he is allowed to.
Yeah, his artwork, some of his stuff is there like that, but the actual place itself should not be all decked out.
Yeah,
I mean, because it's the same thing. Red Dragon, it's the same exact prison cell because that's where he's been. And the sequel is the Silence of the Lambs, so he has it's the same exact place. It's the same dungeon looking. When we first see him, and he's like, Dr. Lecter, Dr. Lecter.
Yeah.
Good evening, Clarice.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a picture of the differences between the prison cells, because like this is quite the difference.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this doesn't include Red Dragon, but top left is Manhunter. Then obviously everyone knows Silence of the Lambs.
Well, again, that's why they didn't include it, because it's the same cell.
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. And then bottom is the Hannibal TV
Yep.
series. So yeah, you can tell that it's hugely different.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, okay, so if you're looking at the Hannibal TV cell, they even left latches on the doors of the cabinets underneath the bookshelf. That's a weapon right there.
Yeah, he could take that off and use it to hook somebody or something. And yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Or hurt himself.
Or
I
yep,
mean,
exactly.
yeah.
You don't like it no more. You
Yep.
know. And then again, all the books and the bookshelves and like what?
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one thing I'm like, nah, they were off on that.
Yeah. Very off.
Yeah.
Very off.
Season 1 and 2 masterpieces. This one I had some issues with, but
It.
again, it's
Yeah.
certain things. They're not
Mm,
major. Something like this, like I said, it kind of made sense at first, but now it just feels a little insulting that they kept it going.
yeah.
Like they should have morphed it into a real like dungeon looking thing, something closer to where Anthony Hopkins is in, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what Wills look like.
Yep. Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, this, like, I could understand them do it, like you mentioned, like when he does, like he imagines being in therapy in his office,
Yep.
how we see it from that point of view. Then his cell changes. That makes sense.
Yep.
But having this be a cell makes absolutely no sense at all, other
Mm-mm.
than just having it look nice on the show.
Right.
Yeah. One
Yeah.
thing I do like, I have to say, is I like how they put Hannibal in the TV series, how they put him in the white jumpsuit, just like they did in Manhunter.
Yeah, it's almost like they merged both of them because
Yeah,
it's not the short sleeve one; it's the longer one, but it is white, like you
yeah,
said. It's yeah, so like that's pretty good.
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
yeah, yeah. I like that part. But yeah, the prison cells are so different.
Oh yeah,
Um,
but
but
don't forget though. But even Anthony Hopkins, like when they were gonna move him or whatever, they had him in the white as well.
yeah, that
So
is
that
true.
works. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because when he escapes, yeah, one of my favorite scenes of that movie.
yeah, big time. Um, and okay, so then. Yeah, okay, so yeah, in this beginning sequence, this is where Will hands Hannibal the file on Dollarhide, the Tooth Fairy. Um,
Yeah,
it,
they did. That guy did a really good job so far.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, that
yeah,
dollar hide's good. He's very, very creepy.
yes, yeah, his acting is on point.
Yeah.
And then and then we see a scene where um, we're going back quite a ways, and it's the scene where Abigail is asking Hannibal if he's going to kill her. I can't remember exactly what episode that happened in. It's not the last episode of season 2, where
No.
he does slash her throat.
Yeah.
Goes back further. I just can't remember
It,
exactly which one.
I think it was one of the last episodes of season 1 or
Okay.
the beginning of season 2.
Okay.
Because they kept her from us throughout season 2 and the big surprise was seeing her at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's really interesting that they went back and did that and showed us like the other side, you know.
Yes, I like this. So we get to see that whole thing, because like this is where um Han like he set Will up as like the killer of Abigail, when like he put her ear in his stomach and all that stuff.
Yep.
And we get to see this part where he set all that up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's drawing her blood, and it's like going into a jar and stuff. And yeah, like she asks, like, what, you know, if you were gonna murder me, how would you do it? And he said, well, I would cut your throat like your father did. And that is what he ended up doing to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like this device where, so after he's done drawing her blood, like it fills this jar, he has this device, and she asks if she can like operate it.
Yeah,
And
press the button. Yeah, because
yeah,
it reverses the blood that they just collected.
yep,
So then, yeah, he could do like that mock thing and like spraying her blood everywhere, so that it'd be more realistic
yep.
to, yeah, how it what do you call it? Like the Dexter job.
Yeah, like how the blood spray, like how it would splatter out and
Yeah, yeah.
pour out and stuff. Yeah.
So that was cool how they did that, but
Mm-hmm.
and even like that whole build up to it, like you could see how like very parental he was acting and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like you could tell like he really had like that, because again he's so good with his fake charm and everything, that very like fatherly, loving kind of shit, and it's like, oh, this guy, man.
Yeah. It's so twisted. Like,
Yep. Yeah, and
yeah.
you could see how she's so enamored with him. So like, it makes sense how a lot of these other people who were swayed by him, how easily he did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And
So
you can
yeah.
also see that it takes a level of cooperation on the victim's part as well.
Oh yeah. Because as soon as he sees it, they're starting to to get like that not that high, but that kind of like it's sinking in kind of thing. Like he plays up on it even more, and it's like it comes so naturally to him.
Yep,
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing.
it is. And then we see Will pays a visit to Alana, and yeah, she asks him what it was like to see Hannibal again, and here we find out that she and Margot are actually still in a relationship, and that they're raising the Verger boy. So
Hmm.
that whole thing happened. I was wondering about that, like if they stayed together and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really. It's weird, but at the same time, it's yeah, she set herself up for life now.
yeah, yeah. She, yeah,
Well, for however long it's going to be.
yes, exactly.
Because he clarifies it in this episode yet again.
Yeah, yeah. He says something specifically.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, he asks. He's like, "What are you do? What are you doing here?" And she says, "There are only 5 doors between Hannibal and the outside world, and I have the key to every single one of them."
Yeah,
Um, so I like how she put that.
yeah, because like she doesn't really have to be there. She has the money and everything now, because the Verger kid and all that, and she's the
Yep,
one who carried it to full term. So yeah, so she's the mother of this kid. But yeah, she's staying there to make sure he's gonna be, he's gonna stay locked up because he's super dangerous.
yep,
A lot of people wrote him off. She didn't write him off. She knows that he is who he is. It's just a
yeah.
matter of time before something bad happens again.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep. She's expecting it.
Yep.
Um, yeah, because well, she's also the only one that he directly like is threatening to end her life. He's not like
Hmm.
he hasn't been that direct with anybody else, but
Yeah.
he keeps telling her, I'm going to keep my promise.
Yes, and
It,
that's the
like,
one thing. He's very honest. For as awful as
yeah,
he is very honest. If he says something, he's definitely going to do it. There
yep,
hasn't been one thing he hasn't done that that he said he was going to do or whatever. So
yep.
it's yeah.
He's
I see. I like that. That's the one thing I do like is his tenacity. He sets a goal and he achieves it.
there's always a silver lining.
Right? I think that's why he's been one of my heroes for so long. Never mind.
um
Oh,
All right,
shit.
and then Will goes to see Hannibal again, and Hannibal's looking over the file, and he's talking about how he'd like to meet this tooth fairy, and he calls him a shy boy,
Yeah.
and yeah, and he posits the theory that this particular killer is disfigured or believes he's disfigured.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and Will said, yeah, he smashed the mirrors in the house, in the family's houses and stuff, um, and that he places the shards of mirror over their eyes, and he says so he can see himself through their eyes.
Right.
Um, and then Hannibal asks, "Will, did you see yourself as him killing these these people?" And then Will, it does his imagining thing where he imagines he and Hannibal are at the crime scene, and then one of the mirror shards falls down, and Hannibal picks it up, and as he looks at the mirror shard, his reflection is the demon stag man.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
That looked really awesome.
Yeah, I like how they did that.
Yeah. And then Hannibal says that it's how these families lived is how the this tooth fairy guy is choosing them. um and and then Will says how no, I'm sorry, Hannibal says, how did you choose yours, talking about his current family that he has.
Yeah. He's still trying to play these games and pry.
Yeah. Yeah, and he says it like he says, ready-made wife and child to suit your needs.
Yep. And that way he won't take any blame if something's wrong with the kid.
Yes.
Like
what an absolute bastard.
Oh yeah. That is terrible. Because it's
Yeah.
Again, he's showing what kind of piece of shit he is.
My God, big time.
At that point too, like Will's like ready to walk away from him. It's like, okay, well,
yeah,
f you and the horse you came in on, and,
yep.
And you could see how desperate he is for this, Hannibal, because he how much he misses Will, and he wants to keep playing games with them.
Yep.
But yeah, I forgot what he said, that he had him turn around again.
Well, right after this conversation, about passing down Talbot traits and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, and it's so vindictive. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it's just so devious. He says, "You know better than to breed," and it's just so like.
Oh yeah, that is it. That's a deep cut right there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you piece of shit, because he already knows too that he was gonna have a kid with the Verger chick.
Yep.
Yep. So there's many layers to his scumbaggery with that remark.
And it's total bullshit, because there's nothing wrong with Will.
No, and you can see that too, and you could tell like his games aren't working with him.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that is that thing when he sees the crime scenes, because those visions are starting to affect him. It's not so much the Hannibal thing. It's that he's still making these odd connections with like the killers. Like he's almost envisioning himself in those spots, and that's just kind of heartbreaking, because Jack is kind of familiar with. He knows what was going to happen. So again, for as much as we like Jack Crawford, he's the one that's manipulating, I think, Will just as much again as Hannibal.
Yeah, we are definitely.
But the thing is, his side of it is more noble, but it's still not right.
Yeah, we are definitely going to be talking about that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be discussed.
Yep.
And then Hannibal asks about like the yards of these victims' houses, and Will describes them, and then Hannibal says that blood in the moonlight looks black, and I took note of that because I remember I think it was last episode where Dollahide is outside in the moonlight, or maybe it was I think it was the last. I'm not sure, but Dollahide is outside in the moonlight, and it looks like there's black stuff all over him.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, that's blood, but it looked black. It looks weird.
Yeah.
And then Hannibal says that blood looks black in the moonlight, so that was interesting to me.
Yeah, because he asked Will that.
Mm-hmm.
Will Graham, have you ever seen blood in the moonlight. It appears black.
And then we see Will is naked. It's at night. It's in the moonlight. It's at night and everything. And Will is naked and he's covered in blood, like all over himself, and it looks black. And then he looks up at the full moon, just like Dollarhide.
Yep. Like everything's still like his connection with these killers is still very much on par.
Yep.
So it's wild because that's what he was afraid of.
Yep. Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, and then we're outside the asylum, and we see Freddie Lounds snapping pics of Will and stuff.
Yeah, she's such a slimy character.
Yes, well, she's a tabloid person.
Mm-hmm.
And inside we see Hannibal is cuffed, like those round circles that are in the glass of his cell. He's got his hands like outside each circle thing, and they're cuffed, and it's so that Alana can go into his cell, and she's looking around, and really she's just there to kind of get information and stuff.
Yeah, she's taking the role of what's his face,
Chilton,
yeah, because that's the thing that kind of like it still makes sense for the story, but it's not correct. It's supposed to be Chilton doing this stuff, not her.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of pissed me off too. I don't remember in Manhunter if that character's. There's got to be someone in there who's similar to him, right?
Yeah.
Because that I don't recall. Again, I was way too young when I saw that one.
Oh man, I think so, but I can't remember either.
But yeah, it's supposed to be Chilton because he becomes his tormentor for through the first movie and then going into Silence of the Lambs, because it's you get your big payoff later with that.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, because Hannibal right now is a lot younger than Hannibal later on when he meets Clarice.
Right.
So I wonder if Chilton, something happens to Alana and then Chilton takes over the hospital again. I don't know.
Yeah,
I honestly,
and that's the thing kind of sucks too, because we're never really going to see what they had or how they were going to plan that out.
Yeah, because we won't see Hannibal as an old man. I'm pretty sure.
No, because like what I was assuming while we were watching this stuff too was that maybe he does get everything more taken down and stripped down, and then that's why he's in the shittier cell later.
Mm-hmm.
That could be it.
It could be. Yeah.
And we never get to that point because of we're not going to get a season 4.
Yeah.
So, but I'm curious, because then the next step would have to be bringing in Clarice, right? And going to a new story arc.
Yeah, because we don't know how old Hannibal is in this series at this point.
No, we don't.
I'm guessing 40s or around 40.
I'd say late 40s.
Yeah. So how old was he in Silence of the Lambs or in the Red Dragon? Do we know how old he was supposed to be in that?
I think he was in his 50s.
Okay, so there's some time lapse.
A little bit. It's not too major.
Okay. You looking it up?
Let me see. Do they have an age for him? Well, if we have to do some math, and my brain's not ready for that right now. Between like the World War situation, because so I was like, we are dealing with different time periods.
Yeah. We'll have
So we're not going to have a proper. We just have a guesstimate basically.
Yeah.
Because of Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
So Mads Mikkelsen he's 59 today. So like what was his show, like 10 years ago or a little longer? So
Yeah.
late 40s.
Yeah. So, okay, so um yeah, and he was just a child during World War II. Think do I don't remember if they stated his age at World War II, but
Hmm.
he was still young.
Right.
So
So
that
if
yeah,
he, yeah, they go. He was born in 1933,
okay.
so that would make him 82 years old today. The character. So Silence of the
So
Lambs, he was portrayed as 57. Hannibal, he was 67. That was 10 years later. Hannibal Rising, he was 23. Why does it not say? It's not saying Red Dragon though, or Manhunter.
hmm.
And I can't recall how many years they said he was in prison or in captivity from the Silence of the Lambs part. I'm pretty sure they say it in the movie, but I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, so it's like it'll be a minute before we get to that.
But at any rate, so there's some kind of time lapse between where he is in the show right now,
Yeah.
as we are rewatching,
Hmm.
to where he is in Silence of the Lambs, where Chilton is in charge of the
Right.
asylum.
They're,
So
they're saying he's in his 50s during the point of Red Dragon.
okay, so that would be at
Mid,
least about
yeah,
almost a decade.
yeah, mid 50s ish.
Okay. So yeah, that would be okay. So I'm thinking maybe something happens to Alana and Chilton takes back the Chilton like gets back in charge of the hospital. That would be the
Yeah.
only thing that would make sense.
Yeah, because from what I understand, if I'm recalling correctly, I'm pretty sure at the end of Red Dragon, they have the thing of, oh, you have a new visitor who's coming to see you, this young FBI agent or whatever. So it goes straight from the very end of Red Dragon into Silence of the Lambs. So yeah,
Hmm.
he would be about 57.
Okay. Yep, it makes sense then. So
Okay.
something happens between now and Silence of the Lambs where Chilton is back in charge of the hospital. So that's interesting. And he keeps on threatening Alana's life. So we have to assume something's going to happen to Alana.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah,
And we don't have many episodes left. So this is 9 and 10. We only have 3 more episodes.
that's right.
Yeah. So yeah,
I wonder if they're turning her into that other character, the one where uh, what did he say? When he's being transported in Silence of the Lambs, and he goes, "Oh, you recently had a baby. It toughens your nipples." I'm curious if that's the character, because she has a young
yes.
kid as well. Maybe it's something along those lines where they're dipping into that wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
That yes, we'll definitely we'll be yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, and so the next thing we see is it's a flashback with Hannibal and Abigail, and he's showing her how to he's talking about how you can kind of smell your own family, um, sense them by scent, and he's showing her how to do that. He's got her blindfolded, and he's holding a knife that her father made
Yeah.
with of bone up to her nose, and he's like, "Can you smell that?" And she's like, "Yeah, it smells like dad," and stuff like that,
Hmm.
um, and then he takes a blindfold off, and she sees her her uh dead father in a chair like across from her,
Hmm.
and that was a wild looking because like he's in a suit,
Hmm.
and but he's dead.
It's almost like it's implied that he dug him up.
Yeah, that's what it kind of, it's weird. It's almost like in a coffin, how he would be dressed in a coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that was disturbing is because it looks like it could be something just that he's just playing with her mind, but then
Yeah.
at the same time, it's when he goes, because like the cathartic thing is, yes, you need to slit his throat or whatever, and she goes to do it, and blood's not coming out. It's the like formaldehyde solution or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
wait a minute,
gross.
yeah, did he really dig him up and put him there, or is this still like in their head? Like the way that they did it, it looked a little too, you know,
Liquidy.
yeah, and too matter
Yeah.
of fact, like yeah, he's there.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's messing with our minds too.
Yeah. So they did a
Um,
different approach with this season.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, so she starts kind of, so yeah, she slits his throat, and like you said, and then she's kind of like freaked out by this, and
Hmm.
he's like, don't, and he holds her and he's like, don't be afraid, never be afraid of who you are. And
Hmm.
it's just such a weird,
Yeah. To
I
see
really
that
feel,
that bizarre kind of grooming he was doing to her.
yeah, very.
Yeah, yeah, very disturbing.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Dollahide is at a dinner table, and there's old folks all around him. And there's like this old timey music playing, and he looks up. He kind of looks up and he sees like as if a movie's playing, but it's like his crime scene photos.
Hmm.
Um, it's like they play as a movie in his mind.
Yeah.
Um, and then it cuts from that, and then we see Will is watching one of the family's home videos, and then he imagines himself there with the family, like he's there, but he's like an observer.
Yeah. And he basically sees like the real joy and love that the family has.
Yep. Yeah. And then we see Dollahide playing with his, I call it his murder movie.
Yeah.
And then he does this weird thing where it's kind of like he has like this transformation almost,
Hmm.
and we see his dragon tail.
Yeah, he gets like tinnitus really bad,
Yeah.
and then he starts like I gotta grab the remote every time it starts because it's like it's too loud. I'm like, oh my god, it's like bothering me. And yeah, so like, he really thinks he's transforming into this dragon, this red
Yeah.
dragon thing. But yeah, like he's playing with like his shoulder blades. It's almost like he's envisioning like wings growing out of them. But yeah, like you said, like we see like
Yeah.
a tail because that's the thing I noticed in this one too. They weren't super clear with it, but I saw when he was running up the stairs, it does go all the way down. So it's his entire back
Hmm.
and the tail of this beast thing, whatever. It's wrapped around his leg, and then like I think it ends at his like by his calf.
Hmm.
So that was interesting. So yeah, we were seeing this kind of like flopping around and hitting the table. It's like whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
We know that's not real.
Yeah. 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 So we're like seeing this. Yeah, we're seeing this through his eyes, and yeah, it was kind of cool though. That scene was
Oh
cool.
yeah, yeah. They did a great job visually with this. Yeah,
Hmm.
and his performance is great because it's like you really see like this guy's pain and like what's going on in his head.
His acting is so good.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like I don't ever recall seeing this guy anywhere else before.
I recognize him, but I can't place him.
Yeah, I know the hair lip is fake, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can't. I don't know who the hell he is. Let's see if I can-
Yeah, I forgot to actually look it up, but yeah, I do recognize him, but yeah, I couldn't place him. But then we are at the FBI lab, and we see a box like in the dirt, and it's got the name Kate on it. And what it is, it's the family's cat behind the one of the families, the Jacoby's family's garage, and it was strangled. So Dollahide strangled this cat, and Will asks about the lead's dog, um, and it's gonna be okay. And I think this scene was actually funny because Price is like really worked up about the cat, and Zeller is like, you're more worked up about this than you are with the kids. And he's like, I happen to be really fond of cats. And it's just
Yeah.
Their banter is funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I know who he is now.
Where's he from?
He's from the Hobbit movies.
Oh, really? I
He's
wouldn't have.
the lead. Was it Thorin Oakenshield?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the one who takes over as king, and then he goes mad when Smog is, like he was supposed to give like the jewel or whatever. And if you remember, yeah, he's like the main one. He's the one that everybody wants to be the king again or whatever.
What's the actor's name?
Richard Armitage.
Okay, I know he's been in other stuff I've watched. I think UK shows.
Yeah. He's a British guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh my god, I didn't know he's like the lead one. The better looking out of all the little Hobbit, or the not the Hobbit, the ones who lives in the mines there, the dwarves.
Dwarves, yeah.
The king of the dwarves, basically.
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. I'm like, I know this guy. Holy shit, this guy's like a chameleon.
I'm gonna pull up a good image of him. Let's see, which one should I do?
Yeah, because he's fantastic on this.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Why is he Wikipedia? What is he in?
What's that?
So he's on Wikipedia. So he's been in
Star Wars.
He's been in the Phantom Menace.
Really?
Okay, so it says.
Oh, he was in the Netflix Castlevania as well.
He portrayed an unnamed Bravo starfighter pilot in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. But
Okay.
yeah, as you said, he's best known for playing Thorin Oakenshield in The Hobbit.
Yeah. And he played the lead in the first. There were, I think, 4 seasons, I think, of the Castlevania Netflix.
Okay.
Trevor Belmont. His voice acting was great in there.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that one. Yeah, I'm going to share a picture of him for people. Yeah, so this guy, Richard Armitage.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he had a lot of muscle on this show though.
Yeah.
He's a lot thinner here.
He got buffed, yeah. What's up, Manliness? Manliness says Elvis is the real king.
That's right, buddy.
Yeah, this dude is
taking care of business. Sorry.
This dude is great in this series, and he's a good actor all around.
Yep. Like I said, he looks totally different as Francis Dollarhide. Totally different.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find one where he doesn't have a beard or mustache.
He got that psycho look.
Yeah.
He's good on it. Because that hair look adds so much to that whole thing too. But he's always got like that pissed off look on his face.
Yep.
And it's crazy. What's crazy is that the guy is like, he is very well spoken and has like the way of like how he carries his voice. But on this show, it is that timid kind of thing. But yet it still there's a meanness to it. Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have never put that together. Like, oh yeah, that's a dude from the Hobbit movies, and I'm like, what? No, it's not. But it is.
This one is a little bit. Oh, wait a minute! I gotta share it. Okay, figure it out here. I've got one. This one has less facial hair. Okay. I can't enlarge that, but yeah. So a little less facial hair on this one.
Yeah, I could show you. Hold on.
Yeah.
There's one from the show.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with that weird hair look thing.
Yes. Yeah, they give him such a mean mug on the show.
Yeah. But even like the structure of his face, like it looks very different from his normal. kind of
Yeah.
look. So I don't
Yeah.
know if it's because, like you said, because he got pretty jacked and his face leaned out more. Maybe that's it. But yeah, that guy's like a freaking chameleon. Like if you show me that one and then like this photo, I'm like, oh yeah, those are two different guys.
For real.
You know. But
Does
yeah,
such a
no. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say he just does such a fantastic job on this show.
Yeah. And they did a good job too, making him look a lot like what's his face?
Tooth Fairy.
Uh, no, I can't think of his name right now. The one who played him in Red Dragon. This dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. What is his name?
I just had it and lost it. Man, getting old sucks.
I know.
Him and his brother. I always get their names confused. But yeah, that's your the one from Harry Potter, the Voldemort guy.
Yes. Wait, no, that's Voldemort?
Yeah, this is Voldemort.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. You don't recognize him because he has a nose here. Let me put the cursor over there. See? You can see it's in the eyes.
Ralph Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes. That's it.
Fiennes? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because
right.
he's really good. And there's the original from Manhunter.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was also
that I
Frankenstein
remember.
in Monster Squad.
Yes, that's right.
That's a dude. Yeah. And the villain in the Last Action Hero.
That movie, I think I've seen it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, good stuff. Yeah, looking forward to when we get to this as well because it's coming up. We're getting closer.
Yeah, yeah, we're almost there.
And I gotta give it to Anthony Hopkins. He got into some great shape because he had a big gut before doing this movie, and like they got him on a training regimen, and like he looked really good coming back like that, like 10 years later.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Manliness says Charles Dance was awesome in The Last Action Hero.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was fantastic. Tywin Lannister.
Oh, dude, he is fantastic.
Oh yeah. Like I said, there's been some really great acting. When we go back and we look at some of these movies, it's like, oh, that was so and so, and oh
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here's a photo of the one who plays him on. Yeah, there he is the dwarf.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. That's not even recognizable.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, like the whole structure of his head is different.
He reminds me of I think it's on Star Trek. Why can't I remember the name of the ones with the four heads?
Oh yeah.
What the heck are they called? Why can't I remember this?
What's his name?
Worf.
Worf.
Yeah, what the hell is the name of that race?
Klingon.
Klingons, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, he kind of did. Oh shit. But yeah, again, that looks like that's night and day.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So good.
Well,
good
it
shit.
shows how versatile he is.
Oh yeah, and a little bit of makeup. What the hell it could do?
Mm-hmm.
Changing these people completely.
Yep.
Oh, in Manhunter, he had the tattoo on his chest.
Oh, on his wait. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he didn't have it on his back. That's interesting.
It doesn't make sense. It looks better on the back.
Yeah. Again, glad that they remade it.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so then, so then Will goes to one of the homes, and he's in the backyard, and he finds a mark on the tree, and we later find out, I think it's in the next episode, that we find out that mark is, you see it often on mahjong tiles. It's the Chinese character for red dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And it also means it means something in gambling as well. Like you
we were watching that on Slasher's channel, one of the Jackie Chan movies. His stepmom,
oh really?
She was playing mahjong, and like the father walks in, and they tried to hide it. She was pretending to take people's pulses. It was hilarious. They had to hide all the blocks. Oh, shit.
Manliness says you need better toilet paper when you're dealing with Klingons. Oh my
And maybe
god.
one of those wet wipes.
Yeah. Always follow with a wet wipe.
Right?
All
Oh,
right.
shit.
And then, so anyway, so as he's,
Never mind about Amber Heard. Let's get back to the show.
yeah, this show isn't about Amber Heard. We've got to get back on track.
So
All
yes,
right.
yeah, we okay. Yeah, Will he goes to that house and he's like sitting he's like watching how Dollarhide would have looked at the family or whatever, and yeah, that's when he pans over and sees that symbol in the tree.
Yeah.
And then we have Freddy pops up there too. The Freddy Lounge, not Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Freddy
Although
Lounge
Freddy
is there.
Krueger would have been probably more welcomed.
It would have been hilarious, actually.
Right?
But yeah, so Freddy's there, and he's like, you're trespassing, and you can see that he has animosity towards her.
Yeah, because she
And
was still telling horrible stories about him.
yeah. Hey Tommy, how's it going? Thanks for
Hey,
being
Tommy.
here. Yeah, and he gets into that. He's like, well, he said, you snuck into my room as I was unconscious, and you took a picture of my colostomy bag and put it in your on your website or whatever.
Yeah.
And she says, well, I put a big black box over it. You're welcome. And
Yeah. And then she called them murder husbands.
yeah, he's like, you call this murder husbands?
I was like, oh shit. That's what's his face there. The Brian Fuller, who is putting his personal shit in there. It's like, come on.
um and then she says that she hasn't seen anything like this, what's going on now with the Tooth Fairy since the massacre at Muskrat Farm. And she says, yeah, the funny thing about that massacre is not only did Dr. Bloom survive, but she got rich.
Yeah.
And
She benefited greatly.
yeah. Yeah, and he goes to walk off. He's like, I don't want anything to do with this. And she rattles off a headline. She says, it takes one to. No, I'm sorry. No, she rattles off a headline that she could spin this in her rag as. And
She's a rag ass.
and yeah, and he's like, is that one of your headlines? And she's like, it could be. And then she says it takes one to catch one, and he goes, are you referring to me or Hannibal? And she goes, well, I'll let my readers decide that.
Yeah, she's a piece of work.
Yeah,
because you remember the scene with the wheelchair and the body on fire?
Yeah.
That happens in Red Dragon to that character. Legit. Not faked, legit. So
it really happened. Like the actor really died.
Well, he is dead in real life, but but yeah, compared to like what, because they faked it in her death in was season 2, but it's like now you just, when I saw that moment, I'm like, I want to see that happen again. I want to see that character though legit this time.
Yeah.
Rolling. They see me rolling.
And then next thing we see is Dollarhide. He's reading the Tattle Crime tabloid, and it's about Will and Hannibal, and he puts his finger on Will, and as he does that, like he's got it looks like there's blood on his finger or something, and he like licks it off.
Oh, the ink from the print.
Okay, so it was ink. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like when old school newspapers, when you're holding them too long, you get that ink on your finger. Like, basically. So it was like whatever. It was super cheap. That shows you even more of how cheap and tawdry, like that Tattle
Crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I did like that. That was another extra slap in her face.
Yeah.
Even her stories are printed on shit paper.
Yeah. They're just tabloid rags. They're bird cage liners.
Yeah, basically.
All right, and then we see a woman working on like that 35 millimeter movie film,
Mm-hmm.
and we find out her name is Reba McLean, and she's working. It's a dark room,
Yep.
and Dollahide knocks on the door, and she said come in and everything, and he comes in and she explains. She's like, take 3 steps forward or whatever until you hit the tile, and I'll put the stuff in the in the black hole. And she gets up, and he when he looks at her, he discovers that she is blind.
Mm-hmm.
um and he asks for a plum, and she offers him one, uh and then he asks about some infrared movie film, and says he's going to be filming some nocturnal animals at the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And she explains how sensitive the process is to like develop that, and she offers to do it for him, and he thanks her and then walks out.
Right.
And then next we see him. It's later, like it's at night, and he's waiting in the parking lot in his van, and we can hear the like when blind people do their cane like in front of them side to side, like
Mm-hmm.
across, like in front of them, we hear that like tick 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 tick.
Yep.
And then it pans over, and she's waiting at one of those bus stop uh can't what do you call those bus stop things with the it's a
Yeah.
bench, but
Yeah. It's the regular bus stop, but yeah, she's waiting for the bus at the
yeah,
Yeah, it's like the glass that's on
like
top and on the sides.
yeah, like the glass canopy
Yeah.
thingy.
Yeah, in case for like weather, in case it's raining or snowing, whatever.
Yep, yep. And so he drives over, and he offers her a ride and everything, and she's like, oh no, I always take the bus, you don't have to worry about me. And he's like, no, this, do it for me, for my pleasure and everything. And so she accepts the ride.
Mm-hmm.
um and so then,
And that's when Trina was screaming, "Don't get in the van with him!"
well, I
Oh,
was
sorry.
thinking, yeah, basically I'm thinking, well, that's the end of this woman.
Yeah, that's why I was when I was watching, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if Trina, she recalls who this character is at all. But I guess not.
No.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a hint. They did the classic movie thing. I'm not. I think she might have been a ginger, but she was definitely white, and they turned her black.
Oh, okay. This actor too, was in True Blood.
Oh, okay. She was very good.
Yeah.
She was very
Yeah.
good in this role.
Yeah, she's good. I, for the life of me, can't remember her actual name. But yeah. So yeah, I recognized her. I was like, oh yeah, that's Tara. That's Tara from True Blood, not Tara.
Was
wait,
she in a lot of True Blood, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think her name was Tara. Curious Cuts, hello, welcome.
What's up? What's the name on the show? Reba McLean.
Reba McLean.
Yeah. Rutina Wesley.
Rutina Wesley, that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Let's see.
And what was
46 now? Oh wow.
What was her character name on True Blood?
Yeah, what the hell was her name? Let's see.
It's bugging me.
Yeah, Tara.
Tara, okay.
That was it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, and then.
Oh, that sucks. I just found out what happened to her character. Shit.
On what? On which show?
On True Blood.
Oh,
that's all right. It's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I think it's maybe an episode. I'm like, maybe one day I'll go back and watch it.
I loved it. I loved it when I first saw it. I don't.
The whole thing was good. I mean, even the ending, everything was.
No, it gets it.
It's just the bed a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so he gets her home, and then she, offers she invites him in, and she gives him a piece of pie, um, and she mentions they talk about like her blindness and stuff like that, like how she like overcome it basically, and she mentions how she thought about going to uh like taking up speech therapy as well, and he stops talking after she mentions speech therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and she breaks the ice, and she's like, look, you haven't said a word since I mentioned speech therapy. And she's like, here's the thing, you haven't shown me any sympathy, and I appreciate that. And she talks about how she hates sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
um and she goes, like, they have a nice talk, and she goes to touch him, like she asks if she can touch his face because she wants to know if he's smiling or not, and he grabs her hand, and like he won't let her touch him, and he goes, trust me, I'm smiling. um
Mm-hmm.
so we can see that there's like this little relationship developing between them.
Yeah.
um Wait, so Melina says, so the show Amber Heard, the bed at the end. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, basically.
For
Yeah,
True Blood, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Why that sucks. Apparently, this one is the black chick. She's in that Last of Us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was here to see if she was doing any more work, and yeah, so apparently, yeah, she's in whatever that. So. I just want to see Pedro Pascal's head get cracked in, and because that's what's supposed to happen early on.
I don't know anything about that show or movie or anything like that.
Yeah, it was a game, and then yeah, the first game was fantastic, and the second one they completely destroyed it completely because they had to make sure that the male patriarch character whatever gets completely destroyed, and then they focus on what looks like a trans girl who murdered him, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I never played the second game, but yeah, they completely destroyed it and slapped everyone in the face, all the fans, because the way that the first game was, it is a story about humanity and what you would do to preserve it and in this nightmarish world. I mean, I think you would probably like season one at least, because I
Well,
know
I'm
I know
not gonna.
I know you're not going to play the game, but
If season 2 is terrible, I'm not gonna get into season. I'm not gonna even bother.
yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm
Because
not gonna
like
do that.
with the games, like I'm fine with the first one only. That's it. I'm not going. I did not play the second one. I'm not going to. I don't care how beautiful the graphics are. Don't matter. It ends for me where the first game ended, because it makes sense. This guy sacrifices everything to save this girl, because she could be like the one who could cure the world of this disease that's happening. Because it's not a zombie outbreak. It's more like with like this kind of bacteria, um, like spores stuff, but they have like a hive mind as well. It's kind of interesting how they did it. Like, it was a pretty cool story to like in a kind of post-apocalyptic ish thing. Very very moving. Like if you watch the opening to the game itself, you'll start crying, guaranteed. I know grown men who've watched the beginning and started crying of what happened in the beginning of that game. It's very powerful stuff. That's what I mean. It was great storytelling, and then the sequel, yeah, the guy who was in charge was he went complete feminist and destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pretty ridiculous. But
Okay, so
sorry, we
that's okay.
detoured.
Yeah, let's get back on track. So, next thing we see, Will calls his wife. Her name is Molly, and they joke about a new dog that she picked up, and the dog is Randy, and she's like, I'm feeling Randy, and he's like, me too, and she's like, no, Randy is the new dog, and they joke about how his balls are so big that he has to retract them when he runs, and so they like have a funny conversation
Mhm.
about that. And it's just it's nice because it's nice to see Will in this new healthy.
Yeah, human interaction. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
healthy. Yeah, I
Yep.
think they did that. I think that whole banter I think came from the movie as well.
Oh, really?
I think it did.
But
It
yeah,
rang
that
some
was.
bells when I watched it. I'm like, oh yeah, I think that was in there. But yeah, because the thing is, yeah, he misses his family. He actually is content. He's happy
Mm-hmm.
with his life, and he really doesn't want to be doing this. But he knows that this guy has to be stopped
Yep.
because he's taking out families, and he's taking out families because the main thing is because they're happy.
Yep.
You know?
And then Will goes to sleep, and he has a nightmare of like of Molly is killed, and it's in the style of the how Tooth Fairy does it. But he's the one covered in blood, like looking over her. And he wakes up from this nightmare, and he goes in the bathroom, looks in the mirror, and he sees his face crack, and a piece falls out, and it's
Yeah. It's like the
yeah.
pieces of dollar when he had dollar hide when he breaks the mirrors.
Yep.
That's the same exact shape of that. Like yeah, it like replaces like where his eye was and part of his cheek.
Yep.
Again, the visual is still really fantastic on here,
Yeah, it's
but
awesome.
very different from the other seasons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You could tell the direction changes like in the midway point,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it makes sense since everything is so much different now.
Yeah, this season is very much about aesthetics.
Hmm.
Um, okay, and then we go back to the asylum, and this time Jack is visiting Hannibal, and I love this conversation. So Hannibal's like, "As I live and breathe, I thought I saw the last of you," and here is where we find out that it was Jack's office that forwarded the letter that Hannibal wrote to Will. um, they made sure that it got to Will.
Hmm.
So that we were wondering about like how that letter got there. Well, it was Jack's office,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You son of a bitch!"
Hmm.
And we find out that Jack even read the letter first, warning Will not to get involved.
Right.
And and Hannibal is not pleased at all. And Hannibal says, "You placed him back in the pot. Now you're letting him cook." And he said it would be more honest of you if you just ate his brain right out of his skull.
Yeah.
Basically, what Hannibal was going to do.
Hmm.
And he says the Tooth Fairy, and he calls him the shy boy, has already seen Will, and he says, "Are you chumming the waters, Jack?" Um, and it, and then and then then yeah, and then Hannibal says, "Will has never been more effective." No, I'm sorry. It was Jack who says, "Will has never been more effective than he is with you in his head." And Hannibal agrees, and he walks right up to the glass and he says, "Bella used to say that your face is all scars if you know where to look." And he says, "There's always room for a few more. How
Hmm.
much room do you think Will has?" And I love that he
Yeah.
absolutely took Jack to task on him using Will again.
Yeah. But Jack is still just smiling in his face.
Yep.
Like I still have
It's
the upper hand kind of thing.
yeah. It's hard to determine who has Will's best interest here. I
Hmm.
don't think either of them do.
Yeah.
Like Jack is just as much of an asshole, just he's not a murderous psychopath.
Right. Right. The thing is, it's like, do the ends justify the means, kind of? Because he
I don't
knows he's
know.
getting Will into this in this position, but yet you need to get this rampaging psycho killer off the streets because he's taking out families. So, like I said, it's very debatable. But the way he's doing it is very underhanded. Again.
Yep.
Because
because he's manipulating Will.
yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah,
But I think that was the approach when he went to the house, that he wanted to be more kind of upfront with them. But then, yeah, and we're seeing how shady he really is. Now, is this on the benefit of Hannibal? Is he doing this on purpose for Hannibal as a show, or is he really this cruel? You know, because like we're getting a little bit of both here.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they're doing it, because Jack is still a likable character, even though like the shit he's kind of putting Will through right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
Yep.
All right, and then we see the order. We see an orderly put the later on. We see an orderly put a phone in the tray for Hannibal, and she says your attorney's on the phone, and he picks up the phone, and we hear Dollarhide say, "Hello, Dr. Lecter," and he says that he's delighted that he Hannibal has taken an interest in him, and he says that the important thing is what not who I am, but what I'm becoming. And Hannibal's like, "What are you becoming?" And he says, "The great red dragon."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the episode ends. I love that ending.
Yeah, it was good.
The way Dollarhide says the great red dragon.
The great red dragon.
Yes.
It's like he put his fake teeth in to say it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, a good delivery, and you can just see like he's very content and smiling. Hannibal.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to be like, aren't they recording all of his communications? Like, what the fuck?
That's based. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, how is this gonna? How is he gonna be allowed to use the phone after this?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, that's interesting.
Power
There's something
of
he does do in the next episode, and I'm like, did that really do anything?
Yeah. All right, and so episode 10 opens up with we see Dollarhide in his mirror in his attic space there, and he's practicing like some speech therapy techniques that he must have learned from Reba.
Right.
And then we see him switching license plates on his van, and then he goes to Hannibal's old office, and it's abandoned. And he goes to like this circuit breaker thing where the wires are, and he adds a couple of wires to the electrical panel. And then we're seeing him. He sits at Hannibal's desk, and he makes a phone call to the Baltimore State Hospital, but it's under the name of Byron Metcalf, and this is a real like attorney place. But well, I'm assuming because the way that the caller ID comes up as.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm assuming like he's spoofing, like he's using that number, and saying that he's that person. And he says that he's Hannibal's lawyer, and
yeah, we're basically getting that other side of the phone call.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
That was a good touch. I like it they did that.
Yep. Yeah, and we're seeing we see him say like how he's elated to hear, like we see him elated to hear Hannibal, like he just met his hero.
Yeah. Like if he got up, he just left the puddle on the chair.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like this is Wayne Gretzky.
Well, he even says, as an avid fan, I wanted to tell you that I'm delighted that you've taken an interest in me. Yep. And it's like if I were to meet Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah.
And and then he says,
even the thought of it, you just got all warm and fuzzy.
And he says, I don't believe you'd tell them who I am, even if you knew. And we hear Hannibal say, so now instead of hearing the phone call from Hannibal's perspective, we're hearing it from Dollarhide's perspective. And so we hear Hannibal say, "What particular um, body are you occupying?" No, I'm sorry. He says, "What particular body you're occupying right now is trivial." And Dollarhide is like so thrilled to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear Hannibal say, it's what you're becoming that's the important thing. And Hannibal says, "Tell me what you're becoming." And then we hear him say again, "The great red dragon."
Yep.
And then he imagines that he is in the room with Hannibal, like in his.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting in Hannibal's office, and he's imagining he's sitting across from Hannibal.
Yep.
And yeah, so it's like they're in session together, and he's telling him how he's admired him for so long, and he has a complete collection of press clippings on him,
Yeah.
which we've seen his scrapbook, so we
Yep.
know that.
Yep. He uses his cement glue to put them all in his little his
Yes.
album binder thing.
And it's funny because this is something a fan, like a fan of, like, say, any actor would be like, "I have all of your movies." Like, this is how he's acting.
Yep.
Um and
It's really well done.
it really is. It really is. And he says, "I think of them as unfair reviews." And Hannibal says, they like to sling demeaning nicknames, don't they? And Dollahide kind of scoffs and says, "Tooth Fairy,"
Mm-hmm.
like in this indignant tone. And
Yeah.
and he says that, it would be so embarrassing for him, for to him, like, to know that Hannibal heard that, if he didn't know what the press had already done to him.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, Hannibal knows what kind of hatchet job the press does. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But basically, yeah, we pictured Trump to walk in at that moment. Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake
Yeah.
news. Continue your session.
And yeah, and Dollahide says that, I want to be recognized by you, and I want to sit before you, and as the dragon, sat before 666 in Revelation. And says that he has things he'd love to show him,
Mm-hmm.
and wants to watch him, Hannibal, meld with the strength of the dragon. And Hannibal says, "See how magnificent you are." And, like, totally stroking Dollarhide's ego, and, like, because he knows that Dollarhide has this self-image problem.
Oh yeah.
So he's like,
He knows how to manipulate and build him up.
"Yep, yeah." And and then he says, uh he quotes a part of William Blake's poem "The Tiger," and says, "Did he who make the lamb make thee?" And then as he says that, we see like a humanoid dragon surrounded by fire with spread wings out, and it's so cool. I'll try to find it.
Yeah, that was some visual. That was
It
pretty
was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I hope I can find this, because this was so good.
So that's the same William Blake. He did the painting and that poem.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. All right. Okay. I got a GIF. Here we go.
You do have a gift. Oh, one of those. Yeah. That was cool. That was very cool to see.
That looked amazing.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Yeah.
That's the one thing this show I think does better than anyone else is their visuals and their those cues at those specific times are just they're jaw dropping.
Yeah. Yep. they're so seamlessly placed, and they look beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it. But the poem, the tiger, it's so it's about the so it's a series called the songs of experience, and it explores the questions of creation, and like the coexistence in the world of like beauty and terror, and these contrasting themes like good, evil, um, uh, like uh, like ferocity and gentleness, and how um, like the this duality of creation, um, and the whole point of it, and it's like the whole point of the poem, the tiger, is to get readers to contemplate the complexities between man, nature, and the divine God.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what like this is all about.
Oh yeah. I gotta ask
Yeah.
because I'm sure Adam is probably still listening too. So because they use that same they used his poem in a Batman episode, Batman the Animated Series. Did you watch those?
No.
There's a very specific episode. I think it's a two-parter where there is a character who it's almost like the Island of Dr. Moreau kind of situation, and
Oh.
yeah, there this mad scientist kind of guy. He is he basically kidnaps Catwoman, and he's trying to give her these concoctions to turn her almost into like some kind of hybrid of a human and an actual some kind of a cat. But he already had done an experiment. It was Tiberius, I think the character's name was. He has like this kind of part panther, kind of big dark gray cat creature who's living on this island, and it's a mix of animal, human, and something else. And they keep referring to and quoting that poem in the animated. It's fantastic, though. That's why I was curious if you have seen it.
No, I've
If
never
Adam's
seen
listening
it.
right now, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But and I think I believe that's how they ended the episode of them saying Batman reading the entire poem.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
That's very interesting.
yeah, definitely something to check out. I think you really enjoy that.
Yeah, it sounds it. Yeah. And okay, so interestingly, now we cut to Bedelia. She's given her bullshit lecture on her experiences with Hannibal, and
Oh, that's hilarious.
oh, dude, she's so full of shit. How
Yeah.
she's framing it as if like she was, totally under, the thrall of Hannibal, and like a innocent victim, and it's funny because the backdrop to the lecture hall is the Garden of Earthly Delights,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and then we see Will standing, like the entrance to the lecture hall is off to the side, and Will's standing there. He comes in, sits down, and she starts talking about like, oh, your sense of self, and how you can like struggle with it and all this stuff, and she walks over to him, and oh man, I hate her.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah, because we see how shitty of a character she truly is. Like she had
yes,
so much potential to be something great, and then you could just see how it comes down to the whole narcissistic thing, and
yeah.
it shows you too how these doctors who think that they're smarter than everyone else, what they ultimately are.
These okay, so Bedelia and Hannibal are both dark triad types.
Mm-hmm.
Um, absolutely, they're just they're the same.
Yep.
And Melina says one of the Batman movies he becomes a bat-like creature, the Doom that came to Gotham. Cool.
The Doom that came to Gotham.
What? Yeah, I've never seen that.
I don't know that either.
And then and she goes, so she's over, um she's about to end the lecture, and she says, my journey began when I was swallowed by the beast, referring to Hannibal. Um and she the things that she was describing was how, Dante described like the gates of hell, and how before we thought of hell, the opening of hell being gates, we spoke of it as the mouth of hell. And um and and then Will, everyone's gone, and it's just Will and Bedelia, and he goes, oh, poor Dr. du Maurier, swallowed whole, suffering inside Hannibal's bowels. And he says, you didn't lose yourself, you just crawled so far up his ass you couldn't be bothered.
Yes, that was fantastic.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I think that's probably my favorite line of the series.
This piques my interest. So Manliness says it has H.P. Lovecraft elements in the movie. Well,
okay, this one of the
right.
animated ones.
All right, so let's follow this link. Yeah, it's an animated. Oh, it's a link right to the movie? Yeah. Yeah, he's got the link in the chat. It's a link right to the movie, Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Manliness.
This ain't the whole movie, though, is it?
It looks like it.
It's got to be a trailer.
It says video, 1 hour and 26 minutes.
Oh, wow. No. Just a trailer.
It's just a trailer? Well, that's...
Yeah, 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Okay, so yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it, because that sounds very interesting. Yeah, thanks for doing that.
Cool. Okay, it's on Max.
Oh, okay, cool. I have that.
Okay, there you go. Sweet. I know Adam said a bunch of those are really good. The animated movies that they did. That's cool.
All right, and then she says, you hitched your star to a man commonly known as a monster. I'm sorry. He says, you hitched your star to a man commonly known as a monster. You're the bride of Frankenstein, which I take issue with that.
I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Will tells her, you hitched your star to a man commonly known as a monster. He says, you're the bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, gotcha.
So I take a little issue with that, not only because that's my profile picture, but also because, well, that's not an accurate portrayal of Frankenstein or the bride of Frankenstein.
I know. He just wanted to give her a shot, though, calling her a monster.
Yeah, bride of Frankenstein.
You got to still respect him on that.
Yeah.
Because, she turned out to be such a piece of shit.
Yeah, and she goes, we've both been his bride, and she asks if he's been to see him, and his non-answer is a yes, and he's like, have you? And she says, I've seen enough of him, and she says that she was with him behind his veil that he puts up, and she's like, you've always been on the other side of it. And Will's like, yeah, we should talk about that. And she's like, you'll have to make an appointment, and walks away. And I just want to slap her.
Yeah. She wanted to give her last shot at him.
Yeah.
Like, what a piece of garbage.
Yeah, big time.
She's like, I'm off to go poop in someone's bed right now. She's definitely an Amber Heard.
And then we so then we are at the zoo and botanical gardens, and I guess, is that Baltimore? I don't know where that is.
I don't know where that is either, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's where we are, and it's Dollahide is taking Reba. She's like, oh, we're at the zoo. She can obviously smell it, and and she's like, why are we here? It's too cold for the zoo. And
she's like, we're either at the zoo or we're at Johnny Depp's bedside.
God.
Sorry.
And he asks if she's ever seen a tiger, and she says no, and he says that they're working on one of the tiger's tooth, and because they have to put it to sleep, and that she can go in and touch it if she wants to. So he takes her in, and this is actually awesome. So she goes up to the tiger, and she asks him to tell her what he sees, and he describes it, and she's like running her hand over the tiger's fur, and as she gets like she gets up to the tiger's face, and she has her hand near the tiger's lips and feels his teeth. Dollahide kind of has a physical reaction to seeing that, and he hides his mouth with his hand.
Yeah, like he might say, "Oh my god," because she was
Yeah,
first of all, she was afraid. Is he gonna be sedated enough? Like I don't want to be
yeah,
attacked or bit or whatever. And then the moment's happening where she's literally feeling him all over, and yeah, her hands getting right there, like on his gums and everything, and he's like, "Oh my god." If he wakes up, he's gonna bite her hand off. Like, but he ain't saying anything.
okay, so I took that as he was imagining her feeling his mouth and teeth because he's really sensitive about
Yeah,
his,
yeah, yeah.
his hair, lip, and his teeth and
Yep,
speech
and
impediment.
that she's willing to go, like, even when she feels that his teeth are right there, that
Yep.
she's still not afraid.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that was, yeah, definitely connected to him.
Yep.
Yeah, it made
Yeah.
perfect sense.
And I love this. So she lowers herself and she rests her head on the tiger, and like a tear kind of escapes her eye, and
Mhm.
Dollahide is like staring at her, like watching her intently as
Yeah,
this happens, and um, yeah, it was just
yeah, he's mesmerized and astonished by her, and then he also lays his head down on the tiger and like staring at her
yeah,
as she's like, yeah, laying on him.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a really good moment, for both characters too.
yeah, very,
Connection. And you could also see the humanity, like that. Had he not been a psycho, like he could have had something good here.
yeah,
You're seeing these flashes of stuff that it shows you there's more going on with all these characters, and especially like even the broken ones.
yeah, yeah. There's like complexities to everybody.
And that's what I like about this type of stuff and these type of stories. Same way like with Dexter, there's a lot going on with all these characters, and it's not just as clean cut as we think. And there are
Yep,
levels to it. No one's just 100% bad or 100% good. There's a lot more happening,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Although there are some people that are really, really, really bad like that, but
Yeah, I mean there's obviously people that the bad vastly outweighs any kind of good qualities.
right,
Like,
right.
yeah.
But like the ones that are have like some kind of something that's a little bit broken in them, for
Mhm.
whatever their circumstances in life kind of brought them. Like
Yeah.
that's again, that's what good storytelling is about, to have you relate to or care about the characters in some capacity, even like the shitty ones.
Yep.
So yeah, they've been doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. Um all right, and then and then he takes her back to his house, and she makes them drinks, um and she says, I don't think anyone at Gateway, that's apparently where they work, is Gateway, like a place named Gateway, and
Mhm.
she says, I don't think anybody at Gateway knows you at all, and he kind of he's kind of taken aback, and he's like, what have they asked about me? And she's like he says, have they told you how I look? And she says, well, I haven't asked, but yes, they've told me. And she's like, would you like me to tell you what they've said? And he backs away,
Mhm.
um and she starts talking, and it's actually very positive what they describe
Mhm.
about him. And as she's describing, she's like, she starts to walk towards him, but since he backed away, she can't find him, and she's like, where the hell are you? And then
Mhm.
she finds him on the couch, um and she sits next to him, and she says, do you want to know what I think? And then she kisses him,
Mhm.
and she lays her head on his lap, and then it looks like she's about to perform oral sex, but
You could have just said La Passion.
La Passion, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like, but they don't show anything. But what they do show is that he drops his drink and the glass shatters,
Yeah, and he's
and
all
then
quivering like there's a shot of his face.
yeah, it's implied,
Yeah. And
and
then
then
she's like, I didn't mean to scare you, or
yeah, yeah, she's
and
like, I
then
hope
he
it
just,
didn't. Yeah,
I hope it didn't, like, cross any line like that. And he just like grabs her ferociously, but he picks her up in his arms, and
yep,
she's not scared or anything. And yeah, and he just like, I need a bed, and you see him like kind of, going down the hallway with her in his arms, and
and
then
I love the contrast between them. So she's very like soft and gentle um and um well, very feminine,
mhm,
and he's very like, there's like this ferocity, there's this beastness to him, this primal like
mhm,
beast nature to him. I love that contrast that they set up. And
yeah,
the name of this episode is The Woman Clothed, what is it, The Woman Clothed in the Sun. And that is, it comes from the book of Revelations. um and
oh wow,
so okay, so we can get into that, but
mhm.
um and all right, so then so he takes her to the bed, and they
Bow
have,
chicka bow wow.
yes,
But the way that they made it look, you just see his back, and you see like like his shoulder blades or whatever, and you're like, oh, is he, or is he actually are they having a good time? And then you see her hands pop up, like, okay, so
yep,
they're getting it on, and
yeah,
it
it's,
seems normal, like they're very,
yep,
like, we just watched the full date, and
yeah,
there's a good human connection between these characters.
yeah, it's very well done. It's not cheap or tawdry or anything like that. Like the sex scenes in this series are pretty
Yeah,
classy.
they all are, yeah, they all have been for sure.
Yeah,
The only one that was a little bit startling was when we saw the two chicks together. It was like that. It just felt out of nowhere. It's like, what? Huh?
that seemed so wonky. That was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
Hmm.
what is this? This does not
Yeah. But
feel,
ultimately, it made sense because then you saw exactly what Alana was looking for,
yeah,
and it was basically money. She wanted to secure her future.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, now her circle is complete.
And I like to also, as they're having um sex, he sees her as like this divine um being, like she,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, like it does look like she's clothed in the sun, like there's like
Yeah,
this golden
like an
uh
angel or some kind of
yeah,
Renaissance painting.
yeah, it's very angelic. It
Hmm.
really is, like, yeah, and you can really see the contrast between him, as this beast, this dragon, and her, this angelic beauty and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
That, yeah, awesome.
And she really, she's a fantastic actress, and you really do feel like everything that she's saying and how she's acting this out. Like, it's very, very well done.
Yep,
Yeah, I give her props for sure.
yep, definitely.
Because I mean, like in the movie, like there's the actress that they picked. She's another one who's very, very good. Do you remember Equilibrium?
Yep.
The one that he goes to see in the prison. Um, he makes a connection with her, like when he starts to get feelings, and she's like, "You're starting to feel," and he's trying to deny it.
I
I don't know if
remember
you
the
remember.
moment in the movie, but I can't picture the
Yeah,
actress.
it's the same actress, and it because she plays a very similar type of role there. Because again, she is so good with emotion. Um, yeah, I'll have to look at it. But yeah, both of them did a fantastic job. Like they kind of do their own their versions of it, but they both work really well. Emily Watson,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she was very, very good in this. Yeah, when we get to it, but yeah, she plays the blind girl.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then next morning he wakes up from a nightmare. Like there's a full moon and everything, and we see like it looks like teeth are falling. Um, it's like it was a strange visual, and he runs up to his attic and he's standing, at the mirror, and his red dragon portrait is there, the one from Blake, and
Hmm.
he hears like this roaring, and then he makes his way back downstairs, and Reba's sitting on the couch, and she's like, "I had a great time, but I need to go home." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, I'll take you home now." And it's like I got the impression that he's protecting her.
Yeah,
He's
from the dragon.
Yeah,
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 from this thing that he believes is taking over him.
yep,
Yeah, it's good, and he's like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." Like
yeah,
he's acting like very very bizarre.
yep,
Because yeah, like you said, he wants to be protective, and he doesn't want the dragon together. But yeah, again, because like he's becoming human with her as well, and he's trying to separate the two.
yep.
And yeah, as we could see, that character is struggling big time.
And okay, so then next we're at the asylum, and the orderly tells Hannibal to go behind his table, and she's like, if you move, I'll mace you in the face, and he's like, okay, I understand. And she puts the phone in the little tray thing, and so he has a couple pieces of gum, like the long thin sticks of gum in the foil wrappers.
Yep.
He
Like
has,
double mint.
double mint type
Yeah,
gum,
give it to
and
for a piece.
he unscrews the mouthpiece. He puts that in,
Hmm.
and he's able to make it out. Well, the operator gets on the phone, and he's like, "Yes, operator, I don't have use of my hands. Can you?" And he asks the operator to dial a number, um, and we find out that it's Chilton's office,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Yes, is this?" And I can't remember who the woman is that he asked for, but it's another woman that answers, and he's like, "Yes, this is Bob Greer at Blaine and Edwards Publishing,"
Hmm.
and he's like, "Dr. Chilton asked me to send a copy of his book to someone." And oh, it's Linda, and Linda was supposed to give me the address and phone number, but she hasn't. Um, and the woman's like, "Well, she'll be in on Monday," and Hannibal's like, "No, I've got to catch Federal Express in 5 minutes, and I don't really want to bother Frederick, Chilton's first name, Frederick at home." And then so she does it, and he's like, "I'll dance for you at your wedding," and blah blah blah, being
Yeah.
charming.
Yep.
And so we find out that the person he's looking for, the address and phone number, is Will Graham.
Hmm.
Oh boy.
Yep. So he
Um,
already has it. So you
yeah.
don't recall. So none of this is ringing a bell to you either, right?
No.
Okay.
Um, and then we see Will talking to Bedelia, and at the same time, Hannibal is preparing a letter addressed to her, and he asks if she's had any contact with him, and she says he sends her greeting cards on holidays and my birthday, and he always includes a recipe, and Will goes, "If he does end up eating you, you'd have it coming."
Hmm.
And
You're
yeah, so
wrong.
yeah, not wrong. And yeah, so they have a discussion about murder. Oh, murder and cannibalism is acceptable to murderers and cannibals, and it's this odd kind of weird conversation.
Mhm.
Um and she poses as doing what evolution has equipped us to do, and he said, if yeah, he says if we did what evolution equipped us to do, we'd all be murderers and cannibals, and that's how they get on this conversation. And
Right.
um yeah, and then he says that she lied, and he's like, you do that a lot. Why is that? And she said, I obfuscate. And he's sitting there like, okay, and the difference is,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, she says, she goes, Hannibal was never not my patient. And I just find that hilarious. She
Yeah.
says, it's not the first time she's lost professional objectivity where Hannibal is concerned. And then we switch to, we see her in session with Zachary Quinto's character. He plays Neil Frank, who is the patient that supposedly,
Mm-hmm.
well, he's a patient that attacked her. That's the story that we have gotten this whole entire series.
Right.
The patient that attacked her. And he, so this is Neil asking Bedelia in session, what did he tell you? Meaning Hannibal, because he was referred to her by Hannibal.
Yep.
And he's expressing misgivings about Hannibal, and he's like, there's something wrong with him, and he says that's why he ended their doctor-patient relationship, because he knew that. And
Yeah,
and
his character wasn't fooled by the bullshit.
no.
And he saw right through him, because he goes, I went for depression and sleep deprivation problems, whatever. And after seeing him, they got worse. They
Yep.
didn't get better. And then like they have a back and forth about what he prescribed to him and everything. And he's saying it's bullshit. Like what he prescribed didn't work properly. And one of the things was like the light therapy thing, where he goes, I don't remember what happened. Like I blacked out completely. And there were very fishy circumstances that what had happened.
Yeah, basically it mirrored what happened to Will and who, what's her name?
Which one?
The FBI agent,
Oh yeah,
the one with that lost her arm.
yeah.
Can't remember her name
I
now.
forget her name too.
But yeah, it's the same exact thing that Hannibal did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's practicing with these people.
Yeah, yeah, and she's, she's basically she's covering for Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, I would have prescribed the same thing, and everything. It's yeah, and then and he says, I nearly choked on my own tongue, and Dr. Lecter remained indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's important, so we'll hang on to that for a minute. And then Will says, how come one patient is worthy of compassion but not another? And she acknowledges that she's been inconsistent. And she says, well, how is one murderer worthy of compassion but not another? And he says that, all this time that you were with Hannibal behind the veil, you'd already killed one patient. Did it occur to you to kill another? And she says that her relationship with Hannibal isn't as passionate as his.
Right.
And so she totally turns around. She's like, is your wife aware of how intimately you know Hannibal? And he's like, she's aware enough. And she goes, you couldn't save Hannibal. What makes you think you'll save this one? Mm-hmm. Referring to the Tooth Fairy.
Right.
And she's just so rotten.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts back to her and Neil in session, and he's pressing her about, why haven't you, I've told you actionable things about Dr. Lecter. Why haven't you intervened on my behalf? And she's like, I'm not convinced that it would be in your best interest. And he's like, do you believe me? And she's like, I believe you're experiencing a lack of insight, and I'm trying to get you to realize that you require medication. And he's like, what the heck? Well, what medication would you prescribe me? And she's like, the same one that Dr. Lecter did. And he's like, see, whatever this is why Scientologists hate psychiatry.
Yeah.
And I just laughed, like, that made me laugh.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what do you think this is?
Mm-hmm.
And he's very frustrated. He's like on the verge of tears. He's so mad.
Yep.
And he says, of course he would refer me to you. You're just as twisted as he is.
Yep.
And it's like,
He sounds like one of us calling out like the shit that's going on.
yes. And then it cuts back to Will and Bedelia talking, and she asks if you know, you're walking down the street and you find a wounded bird. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? And Will says, it's vulnerable and I want to help it. And she says, see, my first thought is that it's vulnerable and yet I want to crush it. And I'm just like, as she said that, I'm like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
And she says that it's a primal rejection of weakness, and it's every bit as natural as the instinct to nurture is. And she says, of course I wouldn't actually crush it, but my first thought would be to. And then it cuts back to her in session with Neil, and he's upset and he's standing like, he looks like standing, and she's telling him to sit down, and he's like, no. And he's like, this is culty and weird. And then he starts choking. And she gets up to help him, and he's like pushing her away. He's like, he doesn't want her near him. Mm-hmm. And he ends up falling backwards through the table, which mm-hmm. has glass on it. And he's choking. So she gets on top of him and she says, I'm trying to clear your airway. Well, interesting way of doing that, because she sticks her entire arm down his throat. Mm-hmm. And he dies.
Because she started putting his hand down. He was starting to spit up blood. Yep. So when she went to start to try to clear the airway, then she pauses for a second. You see the camera look at her face, and then we see from the inside of him, and she goes like up to the elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh.
Yeah.
Not okay.
It was startling.
Yeah.
And he dies and she collapses beside him. Now, and that's the shot we've seen earlier in the series where it's his head, he's laying one way, and her head, she's laying the other way. Mm-hmm. And they're like, their heads are next to each other. We finally got the real story.
Yep.
And then it cuts back to her with Will, and she says, one thing I learned from Hannibal is the alchemy of lies and truths. And she says how, she says that he convinced you're a killer. And she says, you're not a killer. And she says, you're capable of righteous violence, but the extreme act of cruelty requires a high degree of empathy. And then she says, next time you have the drive to help someone, try crushing them instead. It might save you a lot of trouble. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, she's a true monster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we see Will pays another visit to Hannibal, and he shows him the sign, like he took a photo of that sign on the tree, and Hannibal explains that it's the Chinese character, and it's often used in mahjong and all that stuff, and it's the red dragon. And Hannibal asks Will if he's familiar with William Blake's The Great Red Dragon, and the woman clothed in sun. And says that Blake's dragon stands over a pleading woman caught in the coil of his tail. And Will doesn't respond to this thing that Hannibal's explained to him. He says that the man that killed the Leeds and the Jacobys saw something in these families that drove him to kill them. He chose them. Something like they have something in common. There's a common factor that they need to find. And Hannibal says, yeah, otherwise you'll have to enter more houses and see what the dragon has left for you.
Mm-hmm.
and he says 11 days till the next full moon. And he says, I like this dragon, Will. I don't think he's crazy at all.
Mm-hmm.
And said it would be magnificent to watch the world through his red haze.
Yeah.
And then we see Dollarhide. Oh, hey, Darkseid, how's it going?
What's up, buddy?
It's morning for you. It's eve. It's nighttime for us,
Yeah.
actually.
It's 10 at night right now.
So I hope you have a good day today.
Yeah, man. Have a great one.
Yeah, and so then we see Dollarhide goes to an art museum, and he signs in under a false name, and he's there to study Blake's
Did you
painting.
did you happen to catch what the name was that he wrote down?
Yep, John Crane.
Yeah. You know who Jonathan Crane is?
No,
The Scarecrow
and
in Batman.
no kidding. So there's a connection.
I guess that's why they did that. They
Oh,
threw a Batman
cool!
connection in there.
Wow,
Oh, that was pretty cool.
that's awesome. I gotta make a note of that.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I was like, oh shit! I'm like, he put Jonathan Crane in there.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So he's there to study Blake's painting, and so he gets there. The woman takes it out in this viewing room, um and as she's like she's getting the box and opening it and everything, and as she's explaining it, he bonks her over the head and drags her like behind one of the shelves, and he takes the painting out of its protective cellophane, and he's having like this almost looks like an erotic experience with it. And
Yeah, very euphoric, we'll say.
yeah,
But yeah, because it's funny too. Because as she's saying, yes, because you're gonna have to put on these special gloves because of the oils
yeah,
from your hands, and she gets cracked in the head, and he's sitting there like salivating over this thing.
I know. And he's rubbing his face on it, getting all the oils from his face on it, and
Yeah.
he like licks it, and he starts eating it, and it's like, oh my god.
Yep.
Like, imagine like if that was the only, like, imagine if that really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude.
That's
Ugh.
crazy.
So then we see Will is, also shows up at the museum, and there's a man escorting him, and he's there to see the same painting, and the man's like, oh, you're the second person here to see the red dragon and
Today.
every
Yeah.
yeah. And Will is kind of like, wait a minute. And so we get the we so Will and the escort guy gets up to the room, and as the elevator dings, Dollahide like he's eating the painting as the elevator
Yes.
dings, and I don't know, he disappears somewhere because the man tells Will to wait here, and then he like is calling for the woman. What was her name, Miss Harper, and he's like, someone else is here to see the painting, and
Yeah, as he goes in the back, we see like on the other side of Will, the camera's facing on Will, and we
yes,
see in the background the open elevator, and
yep,
Dollarhide like slips into the elevator. So
yes,
then, and Will goes to turn because he thought he caught something in the corner of his eye, and he goes to look, and he doesn't really see anything. But then he sees the foot. He sees the very tip of Dollarhide's shoe. So then Will kind of turns his head more in, then puts his hand there to stop the elevator door from closing. Dollarhide stares at him and then rushes at him, picks him up because Dollarhide's a big dude, picks him up and throws Will.
yes, throws him against the elevator, like the elevator wall thing, and then picks him up and throws him out of the elevator,
Yeah.
and Will is on the floor, like on his back outside the elevator, and Dollahide goes to, like, the elevator's closing, and it closes before Will can make it back in. So Will runs down the stairs and makes it to the lobby, and but there's no one there in the lobby, and that's how the episode ends.
Yeah. That was wild.
That was great.
Yeah,
So
he did a good
yeah,
job.
Wow, I can't. There was a lot. A lot happened in episode 10.
Yeah, they did a really good job with it.
Like the finding out what really happened with Bedelia. Like the so I was under the impression that Hannibal was like there the entire time,
Yeah,
and
that
that
possibly he made this guy attempt to murder her, and
yeah,
then it ended up flipping, and then that yeah, we got so many different kind of things in our head, and then we actually see the truth, and it's like wow, she's always been a piece of shit.
yeah, yeah. I was not expecting that that turn.
Yep, and it kind of cements the fact that she's always been like this, and that's why he and her like worked, you know.
Yep.
Even though she when they were in Italy, like, she's more like a pet.
Yeah, she seemed so like um kind of timid and
Mhm.
like just
Yeah, and afraid at him, and you know she was gonna leave at a couple of points in that story, and like
yeah.
then she couldn't,
Yep.
you know, and he confirmed that he at some point he was gonna take her out when he was bored of her,
Yep.
you know. So it's like there was an understanding between all this shit, and that's why she helped rat him out and everything because
It's
she got to
yeah.
walk. Yeah,
Yeah.
her character was really yeah. It's bizarre how they kind of did it.
I was just absolutely floored by the stuff she was saying about like
Mhm.
how her instinct is to crush a bird. Like, uh,
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
just, yeah,
But again, and it's great writing because like we were very intrigued by her from the moment that we saw her, and then ultimately what she turned into. And it's like it's a lot like Alana was the same thing. We thought
mm,
the character was going to be one way, and then her true nature comes out later.
yep,
Although for her turn, it felt more like that felt more forced.
it
Um,
does. Yeah, I agree.
Bedelia, Bedelia kind of made a little bit more sense with the overall scheme of things and how it kind of played out.
Yeah, because she always had this air of like unknowability
Yeah,
to her.
yeah. We had a lot of those moments where we were kind of in the dark. It's like,
Yeah,
well, is she good? Is she bad? What's the deal? And then like how she went to Will and the cell, and I believe you, and like I'm afraid. Like that felt all very real, and still does after like looking at it all.
mm-hmm.
Like it's still that was still part of her, but at the same time that he's that good and he won't get caught. And how she just kind of like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna like she rather ride with the devil than get burned by him,
Yep.
you know. So yeah, it was very very interesting how they did all that. But yeah, these episodes are great,
Oh yeah, very good.
very very good.
Yeah, it's absolutely blows my mind how we only have 3 more episodes left.
Yep. And I don't
Crazy.
yeah, I don't remember how they wrap up the dollar hide situation. I only remember the very 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 end.
Yeah. Well, it's fun getting there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this has been a blast. Like I said, watching this stuff, it just makes me, you know, more curious again to see the movies because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, the way that they handled everything and then how they just kind of reversed it and tied it all back in, and yeah, very very cool.
Love it. Well, yeah, okay, so that concludes episodes 9 and 10, and we will be back with episodes 11 and 12 next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. And yeah, all right, so before we close, Vinny, if you want to let people know where they can find you, what you've got going on.
Yeah, yeah, you can find me at Vinny Art on pretty much everything. How you see it written up here. Oh, I do have one of those. What you call it's uh, the communities. Um, I don't know why I was having a brain fart there, but yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I hope the link works. Hold on, copy. Oh, I can't drop it in the chat from here. Here, I'll put it in the private.
You can?
I think you could probably put it out. I think,
Yeah, let me see.
or oh, what am I doing? I just hit the link to the YouTube. I'm special today. There we go. I got it.
You
So
got
yeah,
it? Okay.
here's my community thing, down there in the comments. So click that. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna try to put some of my updates and stuff there. I started one. I don't know much about it, but I'm giving it a shot. Um, yeah, it's a newer thing, and I forgot that I have access to make one, so I made one. So that's where you can find all my stuff. I'll be putting more updates, and hopefully where where you can find me if I'm doing other shows and things like that. But yeah, I'll be putting updates for City of Venus. Well, the second one, because yeah, that's the next project that I'm planning on getting out there for you fine folks. You can see it in the title card itself. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of great work there. You can catch me tomorrow, and Trina with Tommy and Slasher and Adam. We're going to be doing the toy stream. And yeah, it's always a blast. We had a good time on the last one. Friday we'll be talking about more crazy stuff that's going on, because yeah, the world is just it's losing its mind. But there's a lot of bad people being exposed and called out now, so that's a good thing. And yeah, um, yeah, more good stuff happening too, along with crazy stuff, really crazy stuff, UK crazy stuff, and what they just signed and that they're doing, and Bill Gates is helping them with, you know, more insane Bond villain level craziness is what they're trying in the UK now. But on a lighter note, we'll also be talking about RFK Jr. and how he did sign the bill and now he demanded it. These companies are no longer, they're not protected with the food and medicine. He did sign that bill, and he's saying take all the poisons out of everything now. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That means more lawsuits will come if they don't. So yeah, awesome. So we'll hit more of that stuff and break that down further on Friday. And Saturday we should be hanging out with Slasher. Sunday we're doing Dexter episodes 3 and 4 for season 2. And again, another awesome series. And I'm happy everyone's been enjoying it because yeah, Dexter is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, tune in for all that great stuff.
Yes. Awesome. And all right, yeah. So thank you all for hanging out with us, and we will see you again next Wednesday. Everybody, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, manja manja.